Hello everybody, welcome to Top of the Stack MTG. So today I want to talk about this new article that Mark Rosewater put out, State of Design of 2022. And a little bit of background about this. Mark Rosewater is the head of design, and he has been forever, okay, for a very, very long time. And he's been involved with Magic since basically the beginning. You know, he wasn't part of the original test group that was putting the cards together with Richard Garfield, but he did join Wizards of the Coast shortly after it really got going with the game, and he's been around basically since the beginning. So he is he's a very integral part in the creation of Magic. I do want to make it clear that he is the head of design, not the head of Wizards of the Coast, right? He doesn't decide how many cards of each set are printed or what order they should come out in or things like that. You know what I mean? He works on designing the cards. But it's weird because everything about Magic the Gathering feels like it's this weird duality, right? You've got probably the most amazing game ever created and a company that just isn't really good at what they do. I shouldn't say that. Isn't really good at the business side of what they do because they've never had to be. Magic makes money. That's it. And jokingly, I like to say that I don't know if Richard Garfield sold his soul to the devil or if Wizards of the Coast sold their soul to the devil, but somebody somewhere was like, I need something that the entire world will love forever, right? And they came up with Magic the Gathering. It's just brilliant. It's truly a brilliant game. Every aspect of it is amazing. But the business is a little bit weird sometimes. So there's this duality about Wizards of the Coast. And Mark Rosewater, because he's on the design side, he generally fits in the good side. I mean, to make a game for 30 years that makes millions and millions of dollars every year for 30 years is incredible. That's incredible. So, especially a paper game, right? So yeah, they do really good work on the design side. But business can be a problem for them sometimes, and sometimes they don't fit together well. So I found this article very interesting because on one side, I don't really understand what they're saying, and it kind of makes me mad. But on the other side, it could mean all this big great stuff in the future. Who knows? But let's take a look at it together and we'll just go over these points. Okay. So, he goes over highlights. I'm not going to go over the whole article. I just want to go over the section about what they had learned this year because it's only these 3 points, right? But I feel like there's a lot packed in here and not nearly enough packed in here. So we need to be more conscious about backwards compatibility. Now, when I first read this, honestly, it made me mad. I mean, this is the dumbest statement. Like, you've been making this game for 30 years, and you haven't figured out that new cards need to work with old cards? That's just crazy to me, okay? Now, he goes into some specifics when he goes into each of the sets. One big key example was werewolves. Right? Werewolves used to have a specific rule about what made them flip over. And now they've made new werewolves that have a different rule about what makes them flip over, which is kind of annoying, right? Now, you could say the new rule's better. It makes more sense why they flip over. So I'm glad that they're trying to get rid of this old rule. Right? But they didn't go through and errata all the cards to just make it the new rule. They just want both rules to exist together, which is a problem. And it is a little weird to me that they didn't realize this was going to happen. right? Like too weird. Like, are you just throwing this out here because you want people to know, yeah, we know we did it differently. We knew this was going to happen, blah, 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 whatever, right? And I hope that's not the case. But I also hope that they kind of understand that, yeah, new cards need to be able to play with old cards. Why did you change the werewolves when people like werewolves so much? And day and night, I guess it might be better. You know, maybe it's better enough that it's worth just scrapping the old werewolves, but I don't think so. I love the old werewolves. I don't want them to just scrap them. I wish they would change the way they worked. And honestly, there's a small chance that they will change the way that they work. And when they put them on Arena, hopefully eventually, they'll use day and night for all of them. Maybe. I don't know. It's just weird. That's just a very, very strange topic. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of realized that this is a little bit deeper than that, right? I know he wants to be very generic and very back, so he's not declaring anything. But this does go a little bit deeper than that. We're now designing for what I call an eternal world. Now, some of the best things, in my opinion, the best business decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made in the past are based on the fact that Mark Rosewater likes to define things. He likes to say, what type of players do we have? Well, if we have Timmy, Tammy, Jimmy, Johnny, Spike, if we have these three categories, then shouldn't we make cards for all of them? And of course, the answer is yes. I think that was a very, very brilliant business decision. It's very wise to know your audience. It's very wise to define things so that things go in categories, so that you know what you're doing. And it's brilliant that Mark Rosewater pushes in that direction. So now he's taking on this. We now design for what is called an eternal world. Okay? He made that a word, two words, but he made it a phrase, right? Eternal world. Magic is an eternal world, which means all cards are playable all the time. Now, why did he do that? Of course, the reason he did that is because of Commander, right? Commander is the most popular way to play Magic. It wasn't the way Magic was designed, but that doesn't matter, right? They saw it. They liked that people were excited by it. They picked it up. They made it a thing. Now they make Commander decks, blah, blah, blah. Commander can use cards from anywhere. There's no restrictions. Of course, there's a ban list, but there's no restrictions to what cards can be used in Commander as long as they're not banned. So it's important that the cards they make right now work with alpha cards. And that's extremely cool for a few reasons. Number one, for me, is Arena. Arena has a thing called Historic, right? Any cards that they put on Arena can be played with any other cards on Arena. Now, my first thought was, oh, well, that just means they're not going to make any old cards. And I think that was their plan. Well, I don't think. I know that was their plan in the beginning. We're only putting new stuff on, which is just so stupid. Like, why would you just give that money away? It's just insanity, right? Of course they have to release old cards on Arena, and they're starting to get it. Slowly but surely, and they're fighting tooth and nail the whole time, but they're starting to get it. They're going to release older cards, maybe in these stupid random 20-card packs, which is just idiotic. But hopefully they'll just start releasing old sets, and we'll be able to draft them and buy them and play with them and blah, 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 right? And this sort of hints that they're all kind of aware of that now. To say it's important that the cards we make now work for alpha is great. Also, the reserve list does not apply to digital products. Because, like MTGO, for instance, the old video game, has alpha cards on it, right? They're all on there. You can play with them. You can't do it on Arena yet, but the fact that you can do it on MTGO and the fact that Arena's been around for a while now, which suggests that it will continue to be around for a while, means that those cards will be released on Arena eventually. They made bank on MTGO. They will make bank on Arena. I don't know how they're going to ruin it or mix it up or whatever dumb stuff they're going to try to do, but they will be on Arena eventually. And it's important that the cards that are designed now work with those cards. So I love that aspect of it. And then, tinfoil hat, going crazy here, if you go even further, this is a tiny indication that they might be considering getting rid of the reserve list. If Arena's going to have alpha cards, then players should be able to have alpha cards in their hands, right? If they want to keep them similar at all, which they kind of need to, because MTGO was popular. It was okay. It made money. It did just fine, right? But it's nothing compared to paper. But Arena is a kind of different beast because it makes more. It makes a lot more than MTGO made. It does very well for the company, right? So now it's more of an even playing field. And I'm not suggesting that paper's on the way out or anything crazy, right? Paper makes money. It does very well. And so does Arena. They both do very well. And if they can keep them together, then they're going to cross-pollinate constantly, right? People who play Arena will want to play with paper. People who play with paper will want to play Arena. It'll just go back and forth, which is excellent. If you can get people running 2 collections instead of 1, that's amazing. That's exactly what you want to be doing, right? So if you can buy these alpha cards, you should be able to get them on paper as well. So if they decide they want to get rid of the reserve list and they want to start reprinting these cards, it will be a very huge success financially for Wizards of the Coast. And I also want to point out, I've noticed that the creation of Arena, the creation of MTGO, and the creation of Arena did not kill paper. In fact, it did not lower the value of paper for the really old stuff. Okay, and I want to make that clear, right? I do understand that when Khans of Tarkir comes out on Arena, and everybody's playing with those cards on Arena, there might be a small spike in the value of Khans of Tarkir in paper, but overall, I think it will drop, right? The newer stuff I don't think is as valuable because they print a ton of it. You can get it anywhere, and you can also play it on Arena basically for free, right? So it doesn't quite have the same value that it could have had if Arena and MTGO didn't exist. Khans of Tarkir might be worth more if those things didn't exist. Might, okay? But alpha, it's not changing. If anything, it's just going up, right? Like, I see reprints. There's reprints all the time of old cards, and you can look at the value of the old card, and you can see a tiny dip when the reprint comes out, but then it goes right back up again. If they printed Black Lotus right now as a mythic rare in a little chase set that was attached to a normal set with a small print run, it would not hurt the value of alpha Black Lotuses. It would not matter. In fact, the value would probably go up because people would get to play with it, see how it works, talk more about it online, People would see it in competitions, you know. And granted, they probably wouldn't be buying a $400,000 card in a case so that they could play like that. But the mystique of that card would just go up. I think we're probably almost to the point where the reserve list is actually hurting the value of these cards. Because the only place you can play them is on MTGO, or if you have a ton of money, which nobody has. So, that's weird. That's interesting, right? And I've gone the whole gambit, right? Totally extreme from this is the dumbest thing someone at Wizards of the Coast has ever said to, hey, they might be getting rid of the reserve list, right? And somewhere in there is the truth. I hope the truth isn't just we kind of screwed up when we made werewolves different. I hope that that's not all this sentence means. I hope it's hinting towards something greater in the future. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? And there's 3 points total. So the second point is we need to be careful of complexity. So I personally enjoy the complexity, right? I wouldn't mind complexity going up a little bit for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm already a player. I already kind of know how magic works. I'm not some judge genius about magic or whatever, but I kind of know how it works. So if there's a really complex card that I enjoy, I'm going to read through it, I'm going to work it out, I'm going to try to make it work, right? And we have Arena, right? If you just play it on Arena, you can see how it functions in certain situations and really get to know the card. So I'm okay with a little more complexity, but there's a massively good, important point that is made in here, which is a new player is always going to start the game from the same place. And they have to be able to. We cannot just shut this thing down for new players, of course. So this makes sense to me. I do hope that they push the complexity level a little bit, and I think they plan on it here. As a side effect of moving toward an eternal world, we've upped the amount of complexity we're allowing in each set. And I think that's a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If I pick up a blue card, or let's say we're playing on Arena, right? And a blue card comes up, and I'm reading through the text, and I realize there's a scroll bar on the right. So literally, I'm not even seeing everything I need to read. I need to scroll down to read more. That's a lot, right? I get that. And I can be like, I don't care. Just throw some goblins at them, you know? I can get that way, of course. But I want the complexity to be there. When I'm ready for it, I want it to be there. And I don't mind getting blown out a few times because I didn't bother to read the last paragraph on this crazy blue card, right? I'm okay with that. Because when I want the complexity, I know it will be there for me. So I appreciate this. I like this a lot. While I understand we're doing it, while I understand why we're doing it, I know we need to be vigilant. And this is a Mark Rosewater thing, right? He didn't want to just shut out new players. He always wants new players to feel welcome as well. And I appreciate that. Mark Rosewater is really great. I know that sometimes Wizards of the Coast can get greedy, and they can be like, make some busted cards so that we can sell a bunch of packs. I know that happens. And then they end up banning a bunch of cards, you know what I mean? But, and this is more tinfoil hat for me, there was, like, Oko came out. Oko was a Planeswalker, maybe, I don't know, 8 sets ago, 5 sets ago, somewhere back. And it was clearly busted. The minute they previewed it, everybody was like, wow, this is busted, right? Everybody knew it was busted from the get-go. Then it came out. It was totally busted. It ruined Standard for a while. They ended up banning it. And then, and this is the tinfoil hat stuff for me, they went on to have the play testing team make a video where they said, so sorry about that, it's all our fault. We didn't realize that you could use Oko's power on yourself. When we play tested it, we were only play testing it against others, which is so dumb. I mean, these players are champions. Some of the playtest team are champions, and they've been doing this forever. And to pretend that they didn't comprehend that powers could go both ways is so stupid. It's ridiculous. I don't buy it for a second. I think they threw their playtesting team under the bus because they wanted that busted card to come out and they wanted people to buy those packs. And it's the worst because I think they especially wanted stores to buy those packs, tear them open looking for Okos so they could sell Okos for a huge amount of money for a little while. It's just gross. Really gross. But I do not believe that that is a design problem. Okay? I believe Wizards of the Coast gets greedy and they break cards to sell packs. That's just me. But Mark Rosewater's great. I mean, he's been doing, he has his podcast called Drive to Work, which you can listen to. I totally recommend you do. It's this kind of an amazing historical document because he's been making it for so long. And he started out in the beginning talking about the past. So literally, it's just a peek into Magic the Gathering over the last 20 years or so, 25 years. And he talks about the beginning, too. So literally over the last 30 years. It's a huge history book of this game. Competitions and sets that were released and scandals and, I mean, everything. Everything. It's cool. And I really appreciate that Mark Rosewater understands that it's important for a community, for a company to communicate with its people, right? Wizards of the Coast needs to communicate with us. They're terrible at it. They do a horrible job. They just assume that Mark's got it. That's it. It's not even his job, right? He just does it because he likes it, I guess, you know? But, yeah, they're terrible at it, which brings us to our third point here. We need to be more conscious of how we talk about our products. Yeah, okay, a lot of the mistakes of this last year were not about what we designed, but how we communicated to the audience what to expect. Any design, even a strong one, can be led astray if the audience isn't properly prepared for what it is. We need to be better in understanding how to communicate what we've made so that the audience is expecting what we designed. And that's a very good point, right? This should have been learned in the second year. I don't know why we're even mentioning this in the 30th year. Absolutely not. That's atrocious. But I do honestly believe that this isn't specifically a design problem. Wizards of the Coast in general has a massive problem with communication. If you look on their website, they're selling new stuff. You have no idea what it's playable in at all. You know, you literally have to go to the game store and say, hi, I generally play Commander. Can this new set be played in Commander? And of course the answer is probably yes, because I think Commander can just play everything. But what about other formats, right? What if somebody wants to play Pauper or they want to play Standard? Or, I mean, you know, honestly, it's just, I think they feel like if they tell people this set is not standard legal, this set is for Commander and it's for Modern, you know, if they tell people that, then they're not going to buy it. I don't know. I don't see any reason there should be mystery around this stuff. It's kind of scummy and strange. So yes, I agree with this 100%, and not even necessarily just on the design end, but for every aspect of this game, Wizards of the Coast needs to be more active in communicating with its group. When they shut down the forums for Arena, that was just a terrible choice, you know. And I know that the forums had become very toxic against Wizards of the Coast because they had made so many horrible decisions, and they would feel better if they could have just erase all of that history, right? But you can't really erase it because of YouTube videos, you know? You can go back and watch MTG Goldfish or even some of the stuff I made and just see that people are talking about it. You know, people are talking about the fact that they're never going to... The professor brings it up all the time. He's amazing with that kind of stuff, right? If they're not going to put... because at first they didn't want to put Historic on Arena. They didn't want people to be able to play with their old cards, which is a horrible choice. Where did that even come from? That's so stupid, right? But that was the plan, right? And then they didn't want to put Brawl on Arena, which, once again, is completely idiotic. Like, Arena's made for Brawl. That's perfect for Arena. Because nobody's playing it in paper, right? I mean, maybe there's a person who's just started and they only own new cards, so technically their commander deck is actually a Brawl deck. But that's just technical nonsense, right? They're playing Commander with their friends. That's what they're doing. Yeah, so many really stupid choices, and they're documented, right? They're out there. You can just go watch them. So it was weird that they got rid of that. And they didn't use it for communication anyway. About once every 6 months, someone would pop on the forum and be like, hey, I'm the new communication person. I'm going to be jumping into threads and talking to people. And they'd do it about 3 times, and then they'd be gone forever. Right? I don't know if they got fired or if they got transferred, or I don't know. It's just bizarre. They must get better about communication. Absolutely. No question. Okay, good. Well, yeah, that's enough of that. Some kind of weird conspiracy theories and silly, goofy, fun stuff. Some hopes for the future. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.